All right, hello everybody. So tonight we're going to be talking about how to raise your vibration. So for those who don't know me, I am Allie Phillips, and the information that I'm going to talk about is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. We are purely talking energy tonight. And while I do like to get into the science of what's going on, I am gonna get full on woo-woo in some of this and get really metaphysical and spiritual in it. So you may hear some things that are new to you. Anything I say, I always encourage you to do your own research. If something resonates with you, fantastic. If it doesn't resonate with you, fantastic. It is whatever you are meant to hear. And because we are all different people, I am going to be covering a lot of different things. So if you don't know about my background, I am an attorney. I've been an attorney for over 25 years in the field of criminal prosecution, but I have been studying the energy and frequency of the planet, of vibrational healing tools like crystals and essential oils and sound and color healing and food as medicine. And I have been doing that since 2005. And so I am going to be talking about a lot of different things that are happening on our planet right now that you may be feeling. And I hope you walk away feeling better and having some answers. So if you haven't gotten either of my books, I'd encourage you to check out The Oily Pet if you are interested in using essential oils with your cat or dog, and to check out The Oily Crystal if you're wondering why are people blending oils and crystals together. I tell you how to safely do it. All right, let's dive in. And for those of you who are here live, feel free to type any questions in the chat and I will do my best to watch the chat. I got a lot of information to share. So we are in an incredibly significant energy shift in our world right now. Now, it has really been shifting since 2011, really the November 11th, 2011 energy portal, because those numbers are 11, 11, 11. And that's when really things started to open and ascend for us. And so a lot of the teachers and the educators that I follow have been talking about this great awakening, the golden age, the ascension, and they have been talking about it for a long time, and many have predicted that it would happen in 2020. Now, what is fascinating about this time, especially during this great awakening, is we end up questioning everything a lot more than usual. We're finding that there is a war on truth. We're even finding that and recognizing that we have been under mind control. And we're really starting to push back on the restrictions against our freedom. Now, anything that I talk about here, I'm going to tell you right up front, it does not have any political undertone to it. It does not, because I don't go there. Politics has zero to do with anything that is happening, and I really want to say that up front. So when I look at this energy shift and this great awakening, I have been looking all year at why now? Why are we having a pandemic now? Why are we having protests now? Why are we having the response to all of this now? Why now? Because there is no such thing as coincidences. Everything has a divine time to it. And there are many things happening that are coming together to create this upheaval and this change. So we are actually being bombarded with numerous energies to actually upgrade us and evolve us as human beings. It's like when you go to the gym and you're working out. The more you do it, the better you feel. If you just go in, you lift a weight one time, It doesn't do anything. But when you really start working with everything that I'm going to be talking about in this presentation, the more you're going to understand and the more better you're going to feel. So what we are doing, the short story, is that we are clearing out millions of years of ancestral disharmony energy. Because when you really think about it, we live on an incredibly violent planet, and human beings are the most violent species on the planet. Absolutely the most violent. We kill without reason and without justification. We'll kill anything that's alive. That's been the energy. And the earth is basically growing out of that and saying, enough, enough, we're done. And so what is happening with that is that a lot of dark and evil energy is being given permission to surface so that it can transmute and disappear. Because while we may think past historical situations got rid of evil energy, like let's just, for example, the Holocaust. Everybody thought, okay, that evil energy is gone. No, it was suppressed. It was suppressed and it's now bubbling back up. What this Great Awakening, what this Ascension is doing is giving permission to all of this energy to bubble up so that it can be gone. And people who are fighting against it, fighting against this energy and trying to, quote, get back to normal, are getting sucked into the negativity. They're getting sucked into the negative news, and then they're spreading it on social media, and they are experiencing more negativity and discord in their energy and having more to complain about and more to strike out against, and it creates a cycle. So they're actually getting sucked in to this negative energy that is trying to surface and disappear. And so as part of this Great Awakening, we are receiving a DNA upgrade. I mean, and we know that DNA upgrades have happened in the history of the human being. And honestly, it doesn't matter what your religious belief is about how man came to be. But we know as a human species, we have upgraded. You can just look at children now who are, I mean, I say that they're actually born technologically ready for this world. Whereas us, I mean, you look at our parents or, you know, baby boomers, and they're struggling using a smartphone. So we know that DNA upgrades happen to human beings. We are in one right now because the earth is evolving and it's asking us, it's pushing us to evolve with it. And these upgrades come during very specific celestial and planetary events, and they come through in what's called light codes, where this energy is coming outside of the planet, into the planet, and streaming light at us and streaming energy to us, because everything in existence is made of energy. And so the short story is that when you can raise your vibration and you understand that the shift is happening, you don't need to understand precisely what's happening, but you know something's different, you know something's going on, then you're going to be more receptive to this DNA upgrade. You're not going to get drawn into the negative energy. You'll actually see the chaos happening, but you won't live it. You know, you're going to see the chaos, but you're going to be able to help others simply because of your energy and your lifestyle and raising your vibration. So what are these energies that are influencing us? So I have done full-on webinars on all of these topics, and at the end of this presentation, I'm going to tell you what they are in case if you want to go and subscribe to get them. But the big thing that I've really been talking about this year is the change in the Earth's frequency, because we are very influenced by our planet and all the planets in the universe. Some of us feel it very strongly, some of us feel nothing, but we are all impacted regardless of what we feel. And we can actually see it in how people respond. You know, I really don't watch the news anymore, but if I learn that there are protests or riots, I can actually go and look at what's happening on the planet, and it makes sense because everything is energy and everything is frequency. So the Schumann's resonance is the frequency of planet Earth. It is the heartbeat of the planet. It has, the short story is that it has been spiking since 2017, and the spikes are longer and they're higher, and they've really been happening since March. So I want to just bump ahead to show you this is what the frequencies look like. And I'm not going to go into great detail because I have done that in a lot of other presentations. But this first column row up here is March. And you can see in the top row, it's pretty quiet because you're looking for the really big white spikes that are wide and deep. That is the increase in energy. So you see in early March, before the whole virus and everything hit, things are pretty calm. And then when the lockdowns start happening, you start seeing the spikes. And then go into April and you start seeing longer spikes, deeper spikes. And some of these actually coincide with global peace meditations that have been happening, which on April 4th and 5th, there was one. And you see that there was a big spike in the energy, which tells me that human beings can actually influence the Earth's frequency, and the Earth's frequency influences us. But you'll see other, you know, down here, April 18th and 19th, that was another weekend of global peace meditations happening. And then when we go to May, I mean, look at May. May was crazy, including May 26th, where it was so high, the spikes that you see that black bar, it literally went off the grid. And this is when the George Floyd protests started happening. Then look at June. Oh my gosh. Spike, 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 spike. I mean, it just went crazy. It went crazy. And then in July, you see even more. So I wanted to show you those so that you can see that this is actually being tracked by many agencies. It's being tracked by NASA. I go to a website where I can watch it every day because it helps explain a lot of what's happening in the world. Because when the spikes happen, people feel it. And sometimes they feel agitated and they don't feel right. Now, we're also getting solar flares, which is unusual right now. So solar flares are when the Earth, or when the sun just basically sends out a blast. And if the part of the Earth is facing the sun where it is bursting out, I mean, it's like we're getting fried. It'll actually fry an electrical grid. And it's happened. It's happened in the past. We are actually in a solar minimum right now. We go in 11-year cycles, and we are actually at the low point, but we got a massive solar flare at the end of May. And this is when the protests started. So I find that interesting. This all starts coming together like an interesting puzzle. Then you add in retrograde season. Oh my gosh. So here, let me scroll ahead. For all the planets that are in retrograde. Now, I'm just going to go through this real brief because I did a full-on webinar in June, I think, in June about this. We always have planets going retrograde, but we've got some powerful ones right now and that have been happening all year. When planets go retrograde, it looks like they're going backwards in the sky. They're not, but it looks like it. And what it does, retrograde means to reevaluate and to reassess. So currently we have 5 planets in retrograde, which is a lot. So one is going to end, the Uranus retrograde. And I just want to tell you real briefly what these planets in retrograde are influencing, because you're going to start seeing a theme with this. So Uranus, which is currently in retrograde, rules the divine awakening. Interesting, because we are in an awakening. Even people are using the word that they're waking up. They're discovering things about our world that they don't like. This planet is getting us to look at inner freedom. How do we define freedom? It's also about rapid intervention or rapid innovation, and what we do after moments of restriction. Okay, we've all been restricted since March. So this is asking us to live authentically and to get on our authentic path. Now, Neptune is also in retrograde, and Neptune rules illusion and spiritual enlightenment. So this retrograde is all about your spirituality, your inner tranquility, and your vision. And the last two moments in history, when Neptune was retrograde in the sign of Pisces, which it is right now, that is when we had the American Revolution and the Salem witch trials. So this is an energy of division that we consciously and collectively need to overcome so that we don't go down that path again. Now, Pluto is also in retrograde, and guess what Pluto rules? Viruses and pandemics. Seriously, I do not make this stuff up. It is, I get goosebumps when I talk about it. Pluto rules mass global events. And it's getting us to reflect on how we do things that we need to change and transform, but it can also increase the fear of death. It makes everything seem extreme. It tests our faith, and it has us reflect on power and control and letting go of controlling people. That's what we're in right now, which is why you see a lot of people pushing back. Now, we're also in Saturn retrograde, which rules social order and conformity and self-discipline. So are we going to comply with what we are being told to do, or is a portion of society going to push back? What I find interesting is under Saturn, Saturn is also about long-term success. So when it's in retrograde, it's asking you, is that 5-year plan that you made a couple of years ago actually working? I can tell you it's not. It's not for anybody. And so Saturn is asking us to pivot and to redirect and to revisit how we're going to live our future and how we're going to manifest and the new attitude that we're going to have. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Now, Jupiter is also in retrograde. Venus went out of retrograde back in June, and that was just all about testing relationships, especially during the lockdown. Now we're in Jupiter retrograde, and Jupiter rules growth and expansion. So it is a positive influence. It's all about reviewing your vision and your ideals and your belief system. When it's retrograde, it challenges your world belief. Well, that's kind of spot on right now, right? So it's getting us to think big picture, like taking your work online to reach more people, or thinking about other people on this planet. So that's what Jupiter is doing for us. Now, Mercury went out of retrograde in July, but that was all about communication. And a lot of our communication was shut down, and we were forced to go online. We're about ready to go into Mars retrograde next month. And that is all, Mars is about war and anger, okay? When Mars goes retrograde, forward action is going to be challenged. So it's a time to go within and to finish things that were left undone and to reevaluate what you're doing, to finish what you're doing. So if you're in the middle of something, you're going to be okay to keep going, but that's not a time to do something new. So now is the time to figure out, okay, if this is our world, what do I need to do going forward? You do not do something new from that September 9th to November 14th. That is when you get things done and you're going to evaluate. And what I do is what I'm doing, what I'm supposed to do. Okay, so that's why I wanted to tell you about it. And then 3 times a year, Mercury goes retrograde, and that is all about communication. So we're going to have our communication challenge. Right up until the election. Well, that's fun. So December 14th, we're going to have a total solar eclipse, which is very powerful. And the winter solstice on December 21st is going to be probably the most powerful event of the year. And it's actually going to bring us some relief. So we just have to figure out how to deal with this energy, now that we're in it right now. So I talked about some eclipses. So when we're in an eclipse season, eclipses actually challenge us. They raise the energy. They get us to question things. I've done a lot of blogs on this. I did a whole webinar on this. So we just came out of a big eclipse season that really opened up everybody's eyes to a lot of things that are happening in our world. And then just this past Saturday on August 8, we had the Lion's Gate. Now the Lion's Gate technically closes today. What is the Lion's Gate? So the Lion's Gate is just basically when the Syrian star system, there are all these star systems out there. The Syrian star system lines up with the pyramids of Giza in Egypt. Isn't that interesting? Perfectly lines up on August 8th. Now there's energy before and there's energy after, which closes today. And it's all about bringing in these light codes and this wonderful light energy. Now, not everybody's going to feel awesome. I've been loving it. Now, I'm a Leo. I love it. Bring on the Lion's Gate. Oh my gosh, it is so awesome. Not everybody's feeling that. And I'm going to go through some of the symptoms that we're all feeling. But the Lion's Gate is really infusing us with this DNA upgrade and these light codes, this light, vibrational energy. But then near the end of the year, we have another eclipse season coming up. And then part of this Great Awakening is a lot of discussion that I've been following on we're moving into different dimensions. So what does that mean? So this is where I would encourage you to really research this, and maybe some of you have. And let me, before I get into this, let me check the chat. Yeah, the spikes, when I talked about the Schumann resonance spikes, they can be both positive and negative. It just depends on where you are in your spiritual growth. The web address to track the resonance. Yeah, if you type in Schumann resonance today in your Google search bar and look for the website called disclosuretv.it, it's an Italian website. It's disclosuretv.it, I believe. You'll find it. But yeah, it's worth tracking. So, okay, so our world moves through dimensions all the time. The first dimension was, just everything was one-dimensional. Okay, think back to math class, one-dimensional. What you see is what you get. Third dimension, we have been living in for a long time. Third dimension is all about duality and separation. It is all about controlling time and space. So time as in our watches and our clocks and calendars, which was all man-made, So it's man controlling how time works. Third dimension is cause and effect. You reap what you sow. You do this, this happens. It's all about right and wrong and rigid rules. I mean, think to your, depending on your age, your grandparents and how they would look at this world, especially if they passed on, and they would think, oh my gosh, you all are crazy. You all are crazy. What do you mean you're going to work from home? What do you mean you're going to quit your job and follow your passion? They had very rigid rules, very rigid rules. So you went to school, and if you were lucky, you went to college. And then you got married, and then you had a child, and then you worked 40 hours a week for 40 years, and you retired. Very rigid rules. Yeah, nobody's doing that anymore. We blew that to shreds when we went to the fourth dimension. But it's all, third dimension is all conditional. If you do this, I'll do that. It's conditional love. It's duality. It's me, it's you against me. It's me against them. It's this movement against this movement. It's this political party against that political party. It is all about aggression. We have been in wars every day that mankind has been on this planet. There has been a war. Humans are very violent. That's third dimensional energy. It is also the dimension where we only use 5% of our brain. 95% of our brain is subconscious. We have no idea what it's doing. So therefore, we are very slow to manifest what we want. People struggle with their goals and manifesting what they want. Now, to move out of this, you have to work on your emotional baggage. You have to work on your fear and your anger and greed and trauma and separation. And as you start to wake up and move into the fourth dimension, here's what you may be feeling, because you may experience negative physical responses and negative emotional responses. Here's what you will start feeling as you start to wake up. The anger starts to bubble up. So you may feel fed up and agitated and fidgety and snarky. You may feel wired and tired. Like you don't know if you have energy or you're exhausted. You're both. You just feel icky. You don't feel yourself. You feel overwhelmed. Overwhelmed is just a story that you tell yourself. And when you feel overwhelmed, you're shifting dimensions. You may feel sad or helpless. You may feel reactive to people. I'm hearing a lot of people use the phrase, that post or that person triggered me. So they're triggering these negative emotions so that you can finally deal with them once and for all and get to the next dimension where you're going to feel better. So when you're being triggered, you need to say, thank you for triggering that. Now I can look at it and figure out why and deal with it once and for all. Because if you don't deal with your emotional baggage, you're stuck in third dimension. You may also find that you're getting caught up in group energy, group fear, group anger, hence the protests, because people are fighting back. They're waking up, but then they get wrapped into it. You may feel lethargic or fatigued and have headaches and body aches that come out of nowhere and there's no reason for them. You may have allergies and sleep patterns are all over the place. You may feel stuck, immobilized, lost, like, I don't know what to do. Like my whole world is upside down. I know I need to do something different. You know, you're searching for your purpose and you just can't figure it out. Your immunity crashes because you're so stressed and you're so in fear. Your immune system crashes. Globally, we are seeing a crashing of the immune system of the planet. What is Rudy doing? And you start asking deep questions. The fact that you are here tells me that you are already moving out of third dimension. And the fact that you haven't left this presentation tells me you're moving into fourth dimension. You are waking up. So what is fourth dimension? Fourth dimension, I mean, the planet still looks the same. Everything looks the same. It's just your heart is opening. You're having a spiritual awakening. You feel centered. You feel uplifted even when everything is crashing and burning around you. You feel hopeful and positive. You know that there is a greater source of energy that is fueling us and feeding us. You feel more present. You're not stuck in the past because you dealt with your garbage. You actually have poor past memory. You just don't remember things from the past. I'll tell you, that was my big symptom. I'm like, I don't remember what I did on Monday, let alone what I did as an 11th grader in high school. Like, I don't remember. I don't remember. This is the dimension where you are being asked to master your thoughts and your feelings. So no more wearing as a badge of honor that you're a hot mess and that you are on an emotional roller coaster. That is third energy. That is third dimension energy. You master your thoughts. You master your feelings. You work on yourself. It is all about going inward, and you work on you. This is why all last year in 2019, I did an entire year of self-care to prep people for this. So start taking care of yourself. If you are not taking care of yourself every day and doing something for you every day, you're going to stay in that third dimension. You got to work on you. And I'm going to give you some ideas of things that you can do. But you will start manifesting more in this dimension, and you're going to see the downfall of traditional industries. We're seeing it. We've been seeing it for years. Car industry, crashing. Banking industry, crashing. Real estate industry, crashed, built back up. Hollywood, crashing. Political system, crashing. Everything is crashing. This is fourth dimension because those energies don't work anymore. They don't work. So you know that you are in this dimension, and you could flip back and forth between third and fourth. You can flip back and forth all the time. You can go from third to fourth to fifth dimension in a matter of a minute. But you know that you are tiptoeing in the fourth dimension when you know you've evolved. You don't know when it happened, and you don't know how it happened. You just know that you're different. Hence, me as an attorney becoming an energy healer and sitting here talking to you all about Schumann's resonance, planetary retrogrades, and the shifting dimensions. I mean, you just can't get more obvious than that. You know you're in the fourth dimension when you work through your emotions rather than burying them with alcohol, drugs, social media, numbness, and other, faulty behaviors. And you stop being the victim. You stop blaming the outside world. You look inward. It's all about going inward and working on yourself. So you spend time with yourself. You are reflective. You want more alone time. You are more interested in spiritual things. You feel more free in your heart because you are getting dominion over yourself. You get really clear on what's important to you. So things that you used to love doing don't matter anymore. Things that you love to have don't matter anymore. Certain people in your life, wish them well and send them on their way. Your opinions are going to change dramatically because you're opening yourself up to all of these perspectives and learning. Even the food and the drinks that you used to love don't taste good anymore and actually can make you nauseous. I have started noticing that coffee makes me nauseous. Okay, I have been drinking coffee since I was 4 years old. That is a long story. I will tell you more about that later. I love coffee. I don't feel good when I drink it anymore. You may find yourself reactive to pasta, wheat, dairy, meat, that sort of thing. You're going to be choosing, I'm finding people choose what I call kinder diets, because when you eat, and this is not a judgment on what you're eating right now, okay? But I need you to know this, because when you shift into this, you'll recognize it. When you shift into food that hasn't involved taking a life, that food has more energy and you feel better. You're more thirsty. Like I am ravenous for water. You'll have different sleep patterns. Maybe you're sleeping less, which is unusual. You might have heart palpitations or brain fog or balance issues. You're sensitive to sound. You're sensitive to light. You're sensitive to people. You almost feel autistic. And it actually should have you looking at autistic children very differently, because those children were just simply born into the fifth dimension, and our third dimension world labeled them. Those children were locked and loaded and ready for the fifth dimension. There's nothing wrong with them. Nothing wrong with them at all. You may hear high-pitched noises. You may think you have tinnitus in your ears, but you don't. You're just hearing other frequencies. You may lose track of time because time patterns are going to change. You make choices aligned with what you believe in, and you have beliefs that you may not be able to back up by science, because you know what? Science is a lot of third dimension work. You just believe stuff and you know it. You know it like you know it. And you can talk convincingly about something. You know that everything is connected, like you can see the magic in everything. And you'll start to disconnect from people in groups that you used to identify with, because now they're toxic. They're so third dimension and gossipy and negative and backstabbing. And you're like, you know what? I'm hanging out here in the fourth dimension, and that's not my jam anymore. I don't like that. And so you realize that you manifest your reality, and you know that your actions impact other people. And so you're really careful about the energy you bring into the world. You also have a strong desire for change and a strong desire to live authentically. That is all fourth dimension. Like I would love to know in the chat if you all are feeling like, yeah, I'm seeing some comments. You gave up diet soda without thinking about it. You just weren't drinking it anymore. Yeah, absolutely. Now let's talk fifth dimension. Okay, because this awakening is basically kicking us in the behind into the fifth dimension. And this is where timelines blend. Now I could do a whole hour on timelines. You know, as a planet and as a human race, are we going to go down this path or this path? Timelines are fluid right now. We, as a human race, based on our energy that we're putting out, are going to decide what happens. And this is the year that we decide it. Do we go into the fifth dimension, or do we stay in struggle? In the fifth dimension, manifesting it is almost instant, because you have worked on your emotional baggage that is holding you back. There is just no separation. I mean, I feel the Woodstock, kumbaya, let's have a group hug. It is all love and peace and freedom, and we are all one. We have respect for all living beings, people and animals. There are none of these third dimension struggles at all. There's a lot more telepathy and intuition, a lot more creation. You're going to see so much creativity come out and blossom because people are being authentic. There's no fear. There's no fear. There's a lot more creation with like energy and lights and shapes. And this is where we have a soul-based identity, not an ego-based identity. So it's not about the fancy car and the big house. It's about, do you have a good soul? Do you have a good aura? That's what people are going to be attracted to. So there's no fear. There's nothing to fear. It's all about balance. And you see love and beauty in everything. And you see kindness everywhere. And you don't see the negativity, but you know it's there, and you just don't fall into it, because not everybody is going to go to the fifth dimension at once. They're just not. And you may see the evil, but you are able to actually send healing to it. Rather than judge it and condemn it and come after it with pitchforks, which is third dimension energy, you actually send prayers and healing to it. Because it's bubbling up, let it go. That's fifth dimension. And you just become really intuitive. You just know stuff, and you don't know how you know it. You just know it. Okay? So those are the dimensions that we're shifting into. And when you look at everything that's happening, it is pushing us into this next dimension because it's bubbling up all the evil and all the dark. Okay? So my question is, are you here to bring the light into this world? Now, what does that mean? So I have been studying what it means to be a light worker for a long time, probably 15 years. And there's all different types of light workers, and I'm just going to talk about two of the biggest categories, the light workers and the star seeds, okay? This is where I'm going to get really woo-woo, if I already haven't. I love this because I see these traits in so many people, and I get super excited because with this awakening, the increase in the Earth's frequency, it's no coincidence that these certain planets are in retrograde and we're having all of these celestial activities, and you know that all of this stuff is happening with the dimensions. Light workers are coming into the earth to help us. Now, of course, my lawyer brain goes back to third dimension and is like, wait a minute, you mean people are coming onto this planet? Like, do they have a driver's license? Like, do they have a social security card? Like, how do they integrate into society? That's how my lawyer brain thinks. Light workers are, not all, but they're just born into this planet. So what is a light worker? A light worker brings light to the planet, brings positivity. They are born with a mission to actually transmute, to change the darkness into light. And they do it because they live a life that lights them up. They do things that they love. They don't follow the norm. You got to go to school, you got to get married, you got to have a kid, you got to have a job, you got to work 40 hours a week, da da da. They're like, screw that. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to do what lights me up. That's a light worker. They understand that how they live their life is impacting the entire planet. These are the people that bring their gifts to the planet, and they are unashamed of it. They are unashamed. They're like, if you don't like what I'm saying, sucks to be you. But I'm going to share my light, and I'm going to draw on the people that resonate with me. They can listen to their soul and take action, even if it flies in the face of third dimension reality. They find kinship with animals and nature and plants and spiritual teachings, and they come in three primary categories: indigos, crystals, or rainbows. So they can be spiritual warriors like the indigos, or they can be sensitive empaths like the crystal and the rainbow people. And these light workers are born just knowing what to do, and they just do it. They just do it. Others will come here and have a life event that wakens them up. And once they are awake, there's no going back. I think that's what happened to me. I mean, I think I came in with a plan, but then I had an event happen and it woke me up. And I haven't stopped talking since. So what are the indigos? So I'm an indigo light worker. Indigo light workers are the warriors. They challenge the truth. They are confident. They have no problem speaking truth with or without validation. They are going to speak it. They are able to look into the dark and bring light to it. When I realized that, it made complete sense why I became a prosecutor, because all of a sudden there's all this information coming out across the planet about child trafficking and the whole Jeffrey Epstein and his little gory island that he had. Yeah, I knew all about that decades ago. I mean, there's been human trafficking since the beginning of time. I've seen it. I've seen it. So indigos can look at the dark and it doesn't put them in an emotional mess. Like they're able to look at it and pull out their sword and go after it. They are able to go after the dark with their light. So indigos shake things up. I mean, they have a mission. They don't care what people think about them. They have higher expectations for themselves and for the planet. They're very perceptive. They're very creative. They question everything, absolutely everything. They are change makers. They're leaders. They're driven. They have huge integrity. And these are the people in power careers who have a healing side to them. Now, the crystal children are very sensitive, empathic people, and they are here to shine light and reflect healing, just like a crystal. They do not want to look at the dark, and that's okay. That's not their path. So rather than force their way into the dark to change it, they just kind of go with the flow and they shine their light, and they're just happy, kind of fairy-like beings. They're idealists. They want to make the world a better place. They are very sensitive physically and mentally. They're sensitive to environments. They are natural tree huggers. They feel connected to everything, and they suffer from sensory overload. So this can be many of our autistic children. And crystal children often grow up to be teachers and healers, and they're in the helping profession, okay? Now the rainbow children are, these are newer children that have been coming in, and they are born into the 9th dimension. Like I'm not even going to go through those dimensions, but they are born even higher. And they come in and they are just joy, and they are always smiling, and they have total control of their emotions. Instant forgiveness. They are tremendously psychic. They are high energy children. They are drawn to color. And they actually come to Earth with no karma. I mean, they're just pure light beings. They have a very different DNA because they've already gone through the upgrade. So they can handle a lot of the toxins in our world. These children are often labeled autistic, and they're medicated to be like other human beings. So those are the light workers. Now there's also a category of people called star seeds. Now a light worker can also be a star seed. You can be both. So if you resonate with any of these, it means you're either a light worker or a star seed or both. So star seeds are actually, okay, this is where it's getting really woo-woo. Star seeds come from other galaxies and other star systems. I actually believed in junior high that human beings were pretty egotistical to think that we were the only life in the universe. It's like, who are we to say that we're the only life? We can't even get to these other galaxies and other star systems. We can't. It is physically impossible. How do we know? How do we not know? Well, the star seeds come from these other faraway galaxies and star systems, and they have assignments specific to this ascension and this great awakening. They are here to heal the violence, because we've had violence since day one that humans touched this planet. Star seeds are clairvoyant. They're clairsentient, so they sense things. They're clairvoyant, they can see things. They're clairaudient, they can hear things. And they're claircognizant. They just know. They just know things. They have very high intuition. They can heal with energy. They can detect danger. They can channel information. They can download information. They can tap into other planets. And there's a lot of different star seeds. So the draconians are actually a reptilian race. I mean, there's actually some people that look like reptiles. I mean, they really do. I was actually going to put some of their photos, but they're movie stars. And it's like, no, I'm not going to call anybody out. But the draconian star seeds are actually, they're a dark energy. So they're not here for the ascension. They're here to ascend the dark energy. Well, I can tell you right now, they're not winning. They're not going to win. But the draconians are working in a very selfish way, but they have very long and thin features about them. Often they go into the military. Now, the Orion starseed people, they are very intrigued by science. They are more mental than emotional, and they often have very bright blue eyes, but they're very mental. They're very scientific. These are the Silicon Valley people. These are the tech wizards, you know, these 8-year-old kids sitting behind a computer who figured out how to hack into Twitter. Those are the Orions, okay? They come in knowing this information. The Arcturians come here to set up new societies that blend technology and spirituality, because crystals actually have a technology to them. And so the Arcturians are here to blend these technologies. And they're not very emotional, but they're incredibly telepathic. Like, they just know stuff. And they're visionaries. They can see way ahead, you know, because when we think of some of the innovations that are happening on our planet, I mean, haven't you often wondered, how did they think of that? That is not even of this world. Bing, 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 not of this world. That's a starseed that thought of it. And then there's the Lyrans. So the Lyrans are the feline people. Okay, who do you think in this webinar is a Lyran? So these are the social people. They love to teach, they love to present, they love to travel, they love to explore, they have cat-like curiosity. And they are good judges of character, like a good cat is. So the Lyrans are here to bring the lightness to the planet. So it's a very interesting combination for me to be a Lyran and to be an indigo. Hence the left-right brain issue that I'm always dealing with. Then there's the Pleiadians. These are very empathic people. They feel everything. They are people pleasers. They are the people that when they see somebody on the street asking for money, they will give them all of their money. They have sensory issues. They're on sensory overload all the time. So they have high anxiety and high depression. And they're very sensitive to the realities of the earth, the food, the toxins, all the emotions. These are the Pleiadians. And then the Sirians are very spiritual people who thrive on earth energy, and they express themselves through art. So these are all the people that we know that have tattoos all over their body. And they have these really weird ear piercings where they stick this thing in their ear and it creates a big gap. It's like, that is so strange. But they express themselves through piercings and tattoos and clothing. These are the Sirians. So, oh, I love what you guys are saying about what starseeds you think you are. So I would encourage you to research this more, because there's a ton of information out there, and I could go on forever, but I won't. This is already going longer than I wanted to. So, all right. So what can you do? All right, let's get into some things that you can actually start doing. Here's the thing. You've got to drink a lot of water, because you've got to keep the energy moving through your body. With these light codes coming in and the DNA upgrades, you've got to keep the energy moving. If you don't, you're just not going to feel good. You're just not going to feel good. Drink a lot of water. You need to drink, take your body weight, cut it in half, and that is the minimum number of ounces you should drink a day. So if you weigh 150 pounds, minimum 75 ounces of water a day. Minimum. Got to drink a lot of water. Okay? More electrolytes. Absolutely. More electrolytes. You're going to start craving it too. Other drinks are not going to feel good to you. So water is the key. Give yourself inner time. You've got to work on your emotional baggage, okay? So you need quiet time. You need meditation time. You need time to journal, to work on personal development, to read that book, to take that class, to work with your crystals, to work with your essential oils, to work with affirmations, to pray, whatever you need to settle into a routine that's all about you. And you cannot say, I don't have time. Because you want to know what I hear when people say that? This is what I hear, and I'm just going to be blunt because I'm an indigo and I can. When people say I don't have time, my response is, then why are you here? Why are you on this planet? Because if you don't live your life, nobody will. You have got to take care of you first, before spouses, before children, before pets, before family, before elderly parents, before a job. You take care of you. If you don't, oh my gosh, this third dimension energy is going to kick your butt. It will kick your butt, and I'm seeing it every day. So please do not say, I don't have time. That is a third dimensional thought. You have got to work on yourself. So work on your emotional wounds. And what that also means is addressing your shadow self. Now, what does that mean? During this time, our shadow is being brought out, and that is our old wounds. And we're being constantly given situations and events that trigger us. So every time you said the word trigger, you are being given a chance to work on your emotional wounds. Your shadow comes out in your weaknesses, and it comes out in how you sabotage yourself. I'm seeing this publicly through people shaming each other on social media. They're just showing their wounds. And I'm like, you know what? Facebook has a 30-day snooze button. Snooze, because that's their wound, not mine. Okay? Whatever triggers you right now is what needs to be healed. Recognize it, heal it in your daily inner time that you're taking for yourself. Daily, no excuses, daily. Now, for me, I'm triggered by people telling me what to do. Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to do. Nobody puts baby in a corner. So I'm working on healing that once and for all. Because I'm finding my own personal freedom. Because it doesn't matter what's going on around me. It doesn't matter. It doesn't impact me. That's where we need to get in the fifth dimension. The next thing is to work on increasing your intuition. So this actually comes from detoxing your entire energy field. You got to detox your body. You got to detox your emotions. You got to detox your mental state so that you don't keep going negative every time there's a catastrophe. You got to detox your spiritual state. So that's why I'm going to soon talk about crystals and oils that are going to help you. We are in a war on truth, and learning how to discern truth for yourself is part of this process and is going to help you. So mainstream media, I'm sorry to say it, is nothing more than brainwashing and mind control. And I saw this, I think it was just today. See, time gets away from me and I don't even know if it was today, where people in China, oh yeah, because I was teaching these people today in Singapore, and one of them messaged me. People in China don't watch the national news because they know it's all propaganda. And they're like, why haven't Americans figured that out? Yeah, that's a good point. So be discerning and find other sources for news. Find news sources that actually talk more about the energetics, like what's going on with the planet and that sort of thing, because it'll tap into more truth. So be discerning about what social media posts you see and who you friend. You can still be friends with people, but just unfollow them. So liberally use that, but learn how to discern truth, and you will know when something is true. For me, I get goosebumps on my arm when something is true, and it could fly in the face of reality, but I know it's true. Be aware and shine your light. The fact that you are here makes you aware. So you need to shine your light, and you do that by remaining positive. And if you know that you're a light worker or a starseed or both, keep learning about this energy shift. Keep learning about the dark energy that's bubbling up so that you individually are in the best place with your light to transmute that dark. You got to shine the light. You can't abolish dark. What happens when you walk into a dark room? You turn on the light. That's what we got to do. We got to turn on the light. So learning of some of these dark, evil things that are happening, if it puts you in the corner, in the fetal position, sobbing a storm, you got to work on that. You got to work on that. Shine your light so that you can handle it and support the release of it. So this, it's really working on how you present yourself, what you say to people, you know, so the people who are shaming each other online, you know, wear a mask, don't wear a mask, you know, believe this about racial injustice, say this, don't say that. Yeah, when I see that, I know that people are showing their wounds. They're still caught up in the old third dimensional energy because words don't persuade. Sharing your daily life persuades and shines your light, okay? Personal freedom. Okay, so the last 6 months of this year are going to be more chaotic with restrictive energy. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Unless we can collectively raise the energy and get out of it, because a virus is nothing more than a frequency. That's it. It's nothing more than a frequency. Let's rise out of it. We've done it in the past. We can do it again. So what we're seeing right now is a lot of people think that they're awake, but they're still in third dimension. So this is where really find teachers that you can follow, do your own research, keep learning, because when you learn, that's your freedom. That's your freedom. I mean, people telling you to stay at home, that has nothing to do with freedom. That has nothing to do with it. It's how you feel. Okay, so find the teachers, discern the truth, and you're going to find your own personal freedom, even if the world is locked down. You're going to feel good throughout all of this. Be authentic, like express your authentic higher self. And here's the way that I see people not being authentic. Copying and pasting on Facebook. If I see one more post that says, I finally figured out the Facebook algorithm and why people aren't seeing my post. You know, I had to do this and this and this, and now everybody sees my post. No, that's not true, first of all. That's part of the mind control. That's part of the mind control. It's not true. Or the Facebook post where people say, I declare that Facebook has no permission to use my name or take my photos. Sure they do. You actually had to click a box and sign an agreement to get on Facebook. So yeah, they actually have permission, and you posting that does nothing. It's mind control. So stop copying and pasting. That's not authentic, okay? I like parts of social media, and I like it when people are authentic and they're showing their family and they're showing what they're doing. If I see one more copy and paste, I unfollow that person, because it's like you're not even showing me yourself. I don't want to see what I know somebody else posted because I've already seen it 50 times in my feed. Unfollow, 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 unfollow. There's very few people left for me to follow. So be authentic. Shine your light of what you love to do, of what you love. Who cares what people think? If they don't like it, ban and delete. It's my favorite thing on social media. If somebody doesn't like what I do, ban and delete, okay? Be in nature. Engage in earthing, get your feet on the ground so that you can connect to the earth as the frequencies are going up. You'll ride it with like a roller coaster, but you're belted in. You're going to feel better, okay? And then clear the energy in your home. I'm going to talk about crystals and oils, so hang on, because that'll help clear the energy in your home. But a really big thing, and this is something I say all the time now, speak and pray to the solution, not the problem. Stop talking about the problems. Stop talking about the virus, the pandemic, the racial injustice. Stop talking about all the negativity because you're feeding it energy. That is third dimension, and the third dimension energy is like, yeah, keep talking about it because we're growing it. Talking about all the evil, sharing it on Facebook. That is third dimension energy. The manifesting is actually so strong right now that if you are focused on all of that negativity, you're going to manifest more of that in your life. And you're actually going to see more restriction and more injustices in the world. Now, here's the thing. You're not sticking your head in the sand. We all know what's happened. We all know what's happened. Be a good person. Be authentic. Shine your light. And that's going to influence somebody else. Treat everybody with kindness. It's kind of simple. It really is. I have people get mad at me over that. And I'm like, how is being kind to everybody a bad thing? I mean, seriously, tell me how that's a bad thing, because it's not. It's not. Don't be wrapped up in it. Don't get sucked into it, okay? Focus on raising your vibe. That is speaking to the solution, not the problem. We need to raise into the fifth dimension because we cannot solve a problem with the same old, dark, evil energy that created it. Who said that? Somebody said that. Somebody famous. Was it Einstein? Somebody said that you can't solve a problem with the same energy that created it. Yeah, it was Einstein. You can't. So we can't keep talking about it. Stop watching mainstream media. we can't do that. Shining a light is how you banish the dark. Okay? Speak and pray to the solution, not to the problem. All right, let's talk crystals and oils. Okay, I picked some basic ones, but I also picked a couple of advanced ones. Here's the thing. So I'm an advanced crystal master. I studied 18 months under a science teacher, and I have been teaching crystal classes for 8 years. So you can find about 1,000 different crystals that all sorts of people are recommending online that help with this awakening and the fifth dimension. My philosophy is that you work with crystals that you have, even if you just have one, or the ones that you're drawn to. And you know what you're drawn to when you see it, and you want to touch it, and you want to hold it. You can't stop thinking about it. So I wanted to give you some really basic ones that are super powerful right now. So the first one is clear quartz. Now I put 3 in here that are kind of higher vibrational, but clear quartz you can find anywhere. It's super inexpensive, and it is the master crystal. It does everything, and it amplifies you when you're feeling good, and it helps you keep your vibration high. Now the 3 that kind of take it up a notch are the pink Himalayan quartz. It's a clear quartz with a little bit of iron in it, and it gives it a pink color to it. Very high vibrational. It comes from the Himalayan mountains. It's much higher vibration than a traditional clear quartz. Or a Tibetan quartz, comes from Tibet. Again, a higher vibrational clear quartz. Or a Lemurian. Okay, Lemurians come typically from Brazil. There's some miners in Arkansas that say it come from there. I don't get involved in those minor battles that they're having. It's like, just if it's labeled a Lemurian, then chances are it is. Those are higher than a clear quartz, but if you have a clear quartz, that is a good crystal to work with because it's going to raise your vibe and it's going to amplify you at your best. So you got to make sure that you're at your best. Second one is rose quartz. Rose quartz, super easy to find. Super easy to find. And it opens your heart to really live that philosophy of, I'm just going to be kind to everybody. Seriously, I'm going to be kind to everybody. Even that spider that ended up in my house, I'm going to scoop it up in a little cup and I'm going to put it outside. I'm going to be kind to everybody. Okay, so I don't have to focus on this life matters and this life matters. Truly, let's just respect and appreciate everybody. Rose quartz, because if you're struggling with that, And it's a real struggle right now. So don't feel like you're some weirdo. It is a real struggle because people are telling you what to say and what to believe. They're telling you what lie to believe matters. They all matter. They do. They do. Rose quartz, stick it in your bra. Wear it around. It's awesome. Now, if you want to ramp it up a notch, you can get kunzite. Kunzite is a beautiful crystal, and these are all about healing the heart, working on your emotional baggage. And if you really want to work on your emotional baggage, put malachite with carnelian. Malachite is an emotional detoxer, and it is, oh, what's the word? It is not gentle at all. So you put the carnelian with it because carnelian works on this solar plexus, which is where power can store and the fear can store. So it kind of bubbles it all up. But I would recommend putting the rose quartz or the kunzite with the malachite so that whatever emotions come out, it's softer. They still come out, but you don't necessarily end up in a puddle on the floor. Now, I also like labradorite. Labradorite will ground spiritual energies into your earth experience. I mean, it looks like a celestial crystal. It's got these great refractions in it. I mean, you can see it on the right. It just looks like it came from another planet. So it's going to take these spiritual energies that are coming in and ground it into the earth so that you can experience those energies here. And then amethyst is really good for increasing intuition. So get a little piece of amethyst, put it on your forehead, lay down. That's part of your daily self-care to do. And if you want to ramp that up a notch, put azurite on your third eye, and that will blow open your third eye. Blow it right open. All right. Let's talk about, and I'm going to get back to, let's see. Can you explain the offshoot of the Tibetan? Oh, that's, it's called a bridge. It's called a bridge, and it bridges you to the next dimension. That's not on all Tibetans. That just happens to be on the one that I have. But yeah, if you find that sort of thing, it's called a bridge crystal. All right, now let's talk oils. So all the things that I talked about, I have matched oils to it. So you need to work on your inner self. Got to give yourself time. Sacred frankincense. Regular frankincense is good. Sacred is better. Here's why. It's a higher frequency than regular frankincense. It will give you a connection to yourself and connect yourself to your higher self, your soul, and to source spirit connection energy. It will move you out of the ego-driven lifestyle and into a soul-driven lifestyle. The Awaken blend opens you to your potential. It helps with meditation. It helps with visualizing and manifesting so that you can make the personal changes to manifest your dreams. But you got to know what your dreams are. And if you give yourself no time with your thoughts in a positive way, you have no idea what you want. The Awaken oil will do it because it's going to stimulate right brain creativity and left brain intuition. So it's powerful because it blends 5 blends. It blends joy, present time, forgiveness, dream catcher, and harmony. That's a lot of oils, and it's called Awaken. Now, to heal your emotional wounds and your shadow self, rose. Please do not go and buy the cheap rose in the stores because it's not rose oil. It's not. It's not. So if you don't have rose, you could try geranium. You could try ylang-ylang, but pure rose is worth it. And if you can find it in another blend like joy, it's worth it. But rose is a deep heart healer. It helps with forgiveness. It helps with unity. It releases fears, and you become whole. So many people are separated, and their emotional wounds are literally dividing them in two. Rose is going to put you back together. And then the release helps you to name the emotion and the fear and release it once and for all. Be gone. Just be gone. You have no place in this fifth dimension. Be gone. To increase your intuition, Roman chamomile brings inner calmness and stillness so that you can actually hear your intuition. Put it on your third eye, stick an amethyst on it, and lay the heck down. Lay there for 10 minutes. Do it every day. If you don't have Roman chamomile, try the Envision oil. Envision is all about a new life going forward, not about going back to the past. So when people say, I can't wait to get back to normal, it's not going to happen. It's not. That world is gone. Okay? We're moving into something better as long as people let go. Let go. Let go. We're going to something awesome. Do you want that fifth dimension world where nobody's fighting and tearing each other down? That's what I want. I'm tired of it. Let's go to fifth dimension. Put the Envision on. For discernment, to figure out what's true, lemon. Lemon is an amazing oil. Oh, I thought I had my lemon here. Where's my lemon? Lemon gives you clarity and thought. And when you are triggered, it's going to help you figure out why you're triggered. Like what is happening to make you trigger. So it's releasing old patterns too, so that you know what's true. And then the new oil, Gary's Light, I'm going to smell it, was actually created specifically to help us discern truth, because we are in a war on truth and we need to know what is right for ourselves. So it brings you into spiritual connection and it opens your mind to other ways of thinking. Shining your light. So if you have been thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous, you know, there's something that I want to do and I'm nervous to tell people, stop it. Stop it right now. Shine your light. We need everybody shining their light right now. Higher unity is going to do that. It connects you. Where's higher unity? Here we go. Higher unity. It will connect you with your higher mind for your higher truth and give you the best guidance on how to go forward. It actually turns your heart into a GPS system so that you know where to go and you know what to do and you know what to say. It guides you in the right direction so you know how to shine your light. And then valor. Valor is the oil of courage. Have the courage to shine your light, because if you don't, it's kind of like what I said. If you don't live your life and take time for you, why are you here? You're here for a reason. You have something to share with the world. Shine it. You got to shine it. If you don't, you're denying all of us. You're denying me, and I'm going to come find you and say, shine your light. Come on, shine it. The next is living with freedom. So in this world, no matter what happens, how can you feel energetically free? Angelica brings freedom into your energy because it connects you to source, soul energy. It is calming and it opens the heart to connect. And when you have that connection, who cares? It's like, you know what? The whole world could be blowing up around me. I'm in fifth dimension happy space. And then I can shine my light, which is going to help with the catastrophe happen out there. The Freedom Blend also does the same thing. I keep these oils here in my office because I'm using them all the time. Freedom frees yourself from the limiting mindset and the limiting actions that you have imposed on yourself. Freedom gets you beyond the sabotage, because we self-sabotage all the time. So smell your freedom oil. And then lastly, being your authentic higher self, which is like shining your light. Cassia oil, our new cassia oil, which is like a lighter, sweeter cinnamon oil, helps you to connect to who you really are at a soul level so that you're free and you find your soul path so that you can live your life and help others live theirs, because you're shining your light. Your energy helps other people. Or you can use highest potential, which helps you to connect to your highest self and it builds confidence and it releases limiting beliefs and it shifts you from focusing on all the problems and the flaws to focusing on all the potential. So it gathers all your best energy to do that. All right, now, if some of these I rushed through, well, maybe not rushed, because I know I've gone way over. If you really wanted to learn more about these topics, these are 4 that you might want to check out on my website. They're all about emotional wellness. Cabin fever, emotional wellness, if your pets are feeding off of your energy, and if you want to learn more about the retrograde. So, all right, I have gone 20 minutes over because, as you can tell, I get excited about this topic. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording. For those of you who are watching the recording, thanks for joining.